This 200-pound farm wife had a 300-pound rebellious streak. She just loved doing the opposite of what people said. Her husband said it was hot and told her to wear less clothing. She went straight to the wardrobe, wrapped herself in a thick coat and fur hat, then ran outside to bask in the 40-degree heat. Her husband brought out a wild horse and warned her to stay away, or she'd get kicked. But as soon as she heard that, and deliberately stood behind the horse, the husband struggled to hold the horse back, begging her to step away, but she wouldn't listen. Sure enough, the horse kicked her flying. Embarrassed and angry, she looked for something to vent on. Her husband quickly warned her to stay away from the dog, or she'd get bitten. But would this woman ever listen? Nope. She turned right around and picked a fight with the dog. The next day, her husband took her to the forest to pick mushrooms. He found a huge patch of them and called her over to help gather them. But this stubborn farm wife refused. Instead, she kicked over the basket and ran off to pick wild berries. Her husband was furious and gave up on her.
What a bullet head you are. To hell with you.
To his surprise, a demon in hell actually heard him and tore open a crack in the ground. Seeing this, the husband quickly shouted for his wife to stay away. But the moment she heard that, and walked straight into the crack.
No way, ow!
Even the mushrooms shook their heads at her. After losing his wife, the husband thought life would be hard, but as days passed, he realized nothing much had changed. The hens still laid eggs, even the cat started helping with house chores, and life became even more peaceful. Meanwhile, the wife was doing just fine in hell. The demon ordered her to jump into a boiling oil pot so he could eat her, but she refused without hesitation, snatched his weapon, and chased him around, beating him up. Whatever the demon told her to do, she did the opposite. In the end, she threw the demon into the oil pot instead. From that day on, the demon lived in misery under her torment. Fed up, he tied his beard into a knot, deciding to flee to heaven. But how could a naturally defiant woman let him go so easily? She yanked off his beard and wrapped it around her neck as a scarf, admiring herself in the mirror. Seizing the chance, the demon escaped hell and rushed to the farmer's house, begging him to take his wife back. Hearing that his wife was still alive, the farmer was secretly happy, but acted indifferent. The demon trembled in fear, clinging to the bedside, pleading non-stop, even offering money in exchange for his freedom. In the end, he threw in a whole bag of gold. Finally, the farmer agreed, but told the demon not to rush. Just bring her back before sunrise tomorrow. But the demon couldn't wait a second longer. The moment the sun rose, he dragged the farm wife back and bolted without looking back. After returning home, her personality remained unchanged, but her husband had finally figured out the trick to dealing with her, saying the opposite of what he meant.
Isn't it hot in here? Open the door wider, will you?
No way.